In this tutorial, we're going to continue with our room MVVM architecture, and we are going to start by installing the dependencies that we're going to use. So if you want to get started, ensure you have a Studio active Fox so that you can go to the new project, then select this empty activity, select the name of your choice. Mine I selected room. Then click finish, click next, then finish to get started. Meanwhile, I have all the dependencies. So move to your project level build.griddles and add the following. So first here we are going to change the Jetpack compost version to v1, and also we are going to use activity compost version. So that I'm also going to set to 1.3.1 activity compost version. Going to set to be 1.3.1. We're also going to use ViewModel compost version. We're also going to set up here ViewModel compost version, that one. We're also going to define the room that we are going, the room library, that version we're going to use here, and the Kotlin version to be that one. Also going to add this one. We are in the project level build.griddle. Before you click on sync now, let's move to the module dependencies that we're going to use. So under the module dependencies, let me copy from the finished version that we are using. We are going to use 100 capped, and go this 100 capped here. Let's continue. We're also going to use move down a little bit. So we're going to use navigation. We're also going to use but first, ensure you have this compiler flag to use for experimental compost API, because we're going to use some experimental. Have that one in place, and also for navigation. Okay, let's just copy all these things, then explain one by one as we move. Copy that and paste over here. That. So these are the one that comes with this is the Kotlin version we set. This is the activity compost version, the model version we're going to use. Also have the life cycle. The life cycle is it? Right. I think that one will add when on this one. So have the live data package for fetching data, like to appear in real time. Alright, so I'm going to post the video and sync my project now, then continue. So let me pause and sync. Alright, so syncing the dependency is done. So we're going to create our directory structures for our use case. So move to here, right click, then move to new package. So the first package we are going to call app navigator. So here we are going to define our navigation graphs. This in this folder over here, navigator. Next we are going to add another package called database. Next we are going to add a package called utils for our utility functions. Utils. Next we are going to add navigator. I think those are enough at the moment. Okay. So let's move to the database first. We are going to set up database first. So we are going to start with the to-do model. We are going to start with the to-do model. So right click on the database, new Kotlin file, and make it a data class. You want to create a data class called to do item data class. Just give it any name, but it's a data class of what we're going to do. So it's to do item data class. So to do item data class, click enter. So you want to annotate it. You want to annotate it at the entity, and we provide a table name. Table name is a string. Let's say call it my underscore to do lists. Call this list. Let's add the fields inside to do. We are going to have 3 fields, I think. First of all, let's annotate that one with the primary key, and the primary key we want going to generate true, and the field name we are going to define as item ID of type long, and initially we're going to give it 0 at the moment. Then we move to column info, and the name of the column is going to be item name, item underscore name, and how we are going to access it. Let's say var item name, let's call it item name, type string. Next, I'm going to replace that. Let's import this one. Let's also add is completed is a boolean. That's another column info. Just duplicate this one down. Control D to duplicate down. So here we are going to make this complete. This underscore completed. Call this done. It's boolean, but default let's say false. Okay, so our data class is done. So we are moving to our database access object. So let's create a folder inside the database still. Database. So we're going to mark it as an interface. It's a DAO interface, a database access object for our room. This is where we're going to make API queries, like the queries from inserting, deleting, updating, getting to do by ID, all that. So let's name it to do database DAO. Sure, it's an interface. So inside the to do interface DAO, we're going to have a query param. I'm going to annotate get all. We're going to make a get all function. We annotate it with query. So at query. So what are we going to do? We are going to select. Let's select all going to select all from my to-do list. So the function there will be function get all. The return type of the is a live data of type list of type. I want to do item data class to do the one we have just created to the item data class. Next, we are going to define a query to select an item by ID. So it's also a query select star select all from my to-do where item ID equals to so this ID is the one that will be passing as we will be querying that particular to do item. So let's make a function to get item get by ID. So getting that item by ID. So that's the ID. The ID will be of type integer. Remember we send this one as a long in the data class. So yeah, int. So this function is going to return an item of to do, which can be null at points. So we are going to work on insert. We are going to on config strategy with replace. So the function should be a suspended function to insert. Let's call it insert an item. So the item that we're going to set is of that. Next, we are going to update. So also we're going to run a suspended function to update that item. Next, we are going to delete. So in deletion also we're going to perform a suspended function called delete. Of course we're going to delete an item of to do. Also we're going to perform also clearing the database. That one will be a query. So the query will be just delete. Yeah, I did right. Delete from the table. This function will delete everything from the table. So it will be a suspended function. Delete all to do's. So our database access object is done. So let's create our database now. So inside the database, new Kotlin class, call it to do database. the to-do database, it should be an abstract class of to-do, which inherits from a room database. So we're going to annotate it. So you add the parentheses, then to annotate it with at database, and the entity will be our to-do class, and we're also going to provide the version of our to-do one. Also, we are going to disable for export schema to default. So here we are going to create an abstract function to access the database access object that we have just created. So let's say abstract function called to do down that. Then we're also going to make a companion object of our database instance. So we're going to make a private variable var that's immutable, and call it instance of our to-do database. By default, let's make it null. So we're going to get the instance of our database. So we're going to run a function called get instance. So the get instance function is going to come to accept context or to do database. So here we are going to synchronize. We are going to synchronize this instance. So while synchronizing, we are going to var instance equals to the instance we created above for what to do. Then we are going to check if the instance is null. We are going to create it. Otherwise, we just send the instance and we return that instance. So if the instance equal null, the instance equals to null, so we're going to assign instance equals to room dot database builder. So inside the database, so we're going to pass in context dot application context, and also of to do class.java, then we pass in our to do database name. How do we call it? Call it my_to do _list. I'm going to call on fallback to destructive migration, and finally build it. Fallback to destructive migration and finally build it. So after building it, we are going to assign instance equals to instance, and we return instance. it yelling. Same type mismatch. Expected room database item class, what we provided to do database, to do data class item. Oh, we should pass the to do database here. Just forget to do database. This one. That's weird. To do database. Made a mistake anyway. Should be like this. Yeah. Alright, so having solved that, let's move to creating our repository. So let's move to creating our repository. So create a Kotlin file called to do repository. So what are we going to achieve in the to do repository? So here we're going to interface. Okay, we're going to interface our in this to do repository is where we're going to access all the methods that we've written here in the DAO from the repository. So in the to do repository, what we're going to do now is okay, so we're going to assign a private val of our to do database access object. To do now this one. So on that we're going to create a live data of to read all our to do's. So val read all data. So the read all data will be live data of list of type our to do item data class, and going to assign it to do database access object dot get all to do down dot get all. So when we run a method that we're going to write below here, it is going to access our DAO and get our to do items from the database. Also write a suspended function to so this is a function that is going to read our it's weird. This is where we are reading all our to do's. So let's create a add to do function to add to do items in the database for our own DB. So it will be to do item data class of, so let's just call it item. The item is to do item data class. So what are we going to do here? So this function is going to get our database access object and database access to object and add our to do. So we call that function insert, then we just pass in the item. Let's call it item. So the next function will be for updating our to do. So update to do. So to delete a to-do, delete to-do, constant delete to-do. Then the last function I want to add is delete all to-dos. So delete all to-dos doesn't take in a parameter because it's a function that returns. Delete all to-dos. So our repository to interacting with our database accessible object is done. So let's create ViewModel here. Let's create our ViewModel, and then we're going to done. So let's call it to do data class ViewModel. You can name it any name. I've just said. So to do item ViewModel, let's say to do item ViewModel. To do item ViewModel. Hey yo. Oh. Ya niko kwangu. Okay, let's continue. So to do ViewModel. So inside the ViewModel is where we are going to interact with our UI to create, add, to create our to do, to delete, to update, and so on. So in our to do ViewModel, so it's your application. So application that extends from Android ViewModel. Passing application. So here I'm going to create a variable, read all data. So it should be a live data of type list, of type I want to do item, data class, to do item data class. Is it throwing an error? Why is it throwing an error? Let's debug Okay, let's proceed by creating the state, a private state. Before we create a private state, private repository, to do that one. Holy shit, why is it throwing errors? Okay, let's just proceed. Okay, we have we want to set our to do items. So let's create a variable called to do item, equals to a new table list of items. We'll take item of to do item data class. To do item data class. Alright, on init, try going to do on init. We're going to, okay, this video is getting long. So we're going to read all our data. So just refer from the finished tutorial. To do database. That instance that to do repository requires what? It requires a DAO. And what are we passing in our ViewModel? Passing the DAO. So that's weird. Type mismatch. Let's debug it slowly. Then okay, let me debug off screen and see. Alright, I did find the error. So the error that we're getting here is in our constructor in our DAO. In constructor in our DAO, we made it to be our to do item data class, but it's supposed to be the DAO, not the to do item data class, and that one solved the issue. So to do alright, so it should be the DAO. Alright, so I think we have managed to make, so the next part we are going to build the user interface for interacting with our to-dos and getting all to-dos, adding to-dos, and so on and so forth. So till then, let's meet. Bye.